Hello, I'm Hao from UBC Sauder Student of Business. Today I'm going to present the proposal for investment opportunity in Chinese word films. Here is our agenda today. I'll first introduce this investment proposal in general, and then movie market assessment, opportunity and benefits, inspiration for success, and investment risks. And I will finally talk about the conclusion of this investment proposal. This is a proposal for Western investors who may be interested in investing in the Chinese movie market to produce word films by collaborating with Chinese National Radio and Television Administration and the Chinese movie producers. The purpose of this movie production project is to entertain both Chinese and Western audience by letting them experience Chinese word history. Chinese word movies can show the audience about relatable aspects of real Chinese word history that are not commonly portrayed in media to Western customers. By releasing the movies into the market, as investors, you can expect that you improve your company's reputation by showing interest in Chinese word history and increase your revenue by attracting more Chinese and Western customers who are interested in learning more about China. Now I'm going to talk about a movie market assessment according to the perspective of China's film box office revenue from 2012 to 2019. China's film box office revenue continued to grow and successfully exceeded 12 billion Canadian dollars. In 2019, China's box office revenue reached 12.8 billion Canadian dollars, a 5.4% increase over 2018. Based on the perspective of the number of moviegoers from 2014 to 2019, the number of Chinese domestic moviegoers continue to grow. In 2019, the numbers of moviegoers was about 1.73 billion, basically the same as in 2018. In 2020, the number of moviegoers in China hugely decreased to only 550 million, down nearly 68.21% from 2019. This was because the COVID-19 happened in China. Fortunately, in the second half of 2020, the COVID pandemic had been effectively controlled, and the film industry had gradually begun to show the signs of recovery. On July 20, the first day of resumption of cinemas, people retaliatory consumption became one of the main driving forces for the rebirth of movie industry. At the same time, the China's government also adopted a series of special subsidies, tax reduction, and other policies to recover the film industry. To sum up, China's film industry will face a new development pattern in its recovery, and the overall development perspectives are still good. The advantages of the China's movie market will help the movie you will be producing get unbelievable public exposure. The international audience are tired of watching many Hollywood action movies. In recent years, Chinese movies are getting exposure and doing really well in the Western market and generating millions of dollars in sales revenue each year in Europe and North America. Now I'm going to talk about opportunity and benefit. Chinese movie market has been growing for many years, as you know. Chinese people's patriotism and national pride have driven movie producers to create new types of films to fit their tastes. War history can be a really good one for Chinese customers to satisfy their patriotism and national pride. Also, Western consumers are seeking new types of Chinese movies since they are tired of watching Chinese kung fu films. Chinese war films are not commonly released in Western market, so war films can definitely meet Western consumers' needs. So therefore, these social trends have inspired me to introduce this potential investment opportunity in Chinese war films to all of you. You will work with Chinese movie producers and Chinese national radio and television administration to create Chinese war movies. There are also a number of opportunities and benefits for your Chinese movie production partners, Chinese directors, screenwriters, storytellers, and actors who get involved in creating movies will get high pay, and Chinese war history will get exposure. This may attract more Western people's attention to learn more about it, to remove the stereotypes about Chinese war history. Now I'm going to talk about inspiration for success, the battle at Lake Changjin. The battle at Lake Changjin was directed by Chen Kaige, Cui Hark, and Dan Cei Lam. This movie was based on the story that 3 companies of the Chinese volunteer army, which were called AISA Company, were frozen to death when they are performing the mission, and their bodies remain the same. Moral superiority plays an important role in a story that begins with the UN forces in commanding position in September 1950. The U.S. Commander General Douglas MacArthur tells the troops that, "I guarantee you this will be over by Thanksgiving," but all of that confident will be not much for dedicated and motivated Chinese troops who can survive with raw potatoes in frozen hills, while their U.S. counterparts worry about being back in time for dinner. All these movie scenes fit the Chinese audience tastes in terms of national pride and satisfy the Western audience curiosity about new types of Chinese movies. As a result of meeting Chinese and Western audience expectations, the battle at Lake Changjin generated almost all of its revenues from Chinese domestic box office sales and achieved 1.2 billion Canadian dollars in sales internationally. As one of the strongly nationalist films released during 100-year anniversary of founding of the Chinese Communist Party, only Spider-Man No Way Out and No Time to Die could be its strong competitors. Although the movie producers of the battle at Lake Changjin announced they spent 268 million Canadian dollars making the movie, the real cost of producing this war film was still questionable. This movie was produced during the COVID pandemic in China. Lots of costs happened due to the COVID pandemic. For example, the cost of COVID-19 testing for all 7 solvent actors was about $170,000 each day. Also, the movie producer got support from many Chinese government agents. As a result, the $268 million cost was not realistic and it was flawed. Generally, in China, the box office revenue of a movie will be first deducted by 3.3% for the special business operating tasks, and 5% for the special funds for the film industry. The remaining 91.7% will be classified as the reversible box office revenue. In the reversible box office revenue, Cinemas and theaters will take 57%. Chinese Film Group Corporation will cut 0% to 3%. The remaining 30 to 33% is a net box office revenue, which will be distributed to the film producers and distributors. Producing the movie The Battle at Lake Changjing was unusually costly, but the movie producer and distributors still got about $260 million in profit in the China's market, although the claim that they spent $268 million producing the film. So now I'm going to talk about the risks. So there are 3 types of risks: financial risk, operational risk, and reputational risk. I'll first talk about the financial risk. If the revenue generated by the movie sales cannot cover your movie production cost, you will face financial loss. But there are many government grants for producing war films. For example, you may be able to get subsidies from Chinese propaganda departments and the National Radio and Television Administration. You may be also able to get a tax deduction from the movie sales revenue. It should be easier to find grants to support your movie production while partnering with Chinese movie producers. Therefore, the financial risk is low. You may also face operational risk when you work with the Chinese movie producers and the Chinese National Radio and Television Administration. If you are not familiar with Chinese beliefs and cultures, this may cause conflicts at work. Your counterparts may think they are not respected. Therefore, you need to educate yourself and your employees about the Chinese beliefs and cultures to avoid conflicts. You also have to learn about the Chinese movie production policies before you started to produce. This is because if the movie you produced has any content that violates the movie production policies in China, the movie will be banned in the Chinese market. So also you may face delays in meeting your target movie release date in China. The Chinese National Radio and Television Administration needs to review your movie content in detail to make sure there are no violations. This process may take a long time to be completed. As a result, operational risk is medium. If you are planning to create a Chinese war film that will be also released in Western market, you will also need to take a risk of getting negative comments and reviews about the movie you produce. The content of Chinese war film can be controversial in Western audience eyes, even though there is a social trend that people are becoming open-minded. However, because of the competition and AISA foreign relationships between China and some Western countries, the watchers may think you are trying to introduce the Chinese ideology to them for the Chinese government. You need to closely work with the movie marketing team in Western countries to explain the reason why you made the movie and what deliverables you want to show in a movie to Western audience. So the reputational risk is medium. Now I'm going to do the conclusion. The partnerships between your companies and the Chinese movie producers will benefit both sides. You'll be able to improve your company's reputation by showing the true Chinese war history, and your company will also be able to generate more sales revenue. The Chinese movie production partners will get a high pay to improve their living standards. Furthermore, you'll be also able to build a professional and a strong relationship with the Chinese government agents and the movie producers. The relationship will help you ease the way to collaborate with them on other potential business opportunities in the future, although there will be some potential risks in conducting the Chinese war films. but the project is still worth continuing. This is the end of my presentation. If you have any question, please let me know. Thank you.